Lyanna Monroe stepped out of the limousine and onto the rain-slicked pavement of New York City. The night was brisk, alive with neon glows and elusive shadows that danced along the glistening streets. As she moved toward the Regency Hotel, her heels clicking with poise, a storm of unease brewed within her. The lobby welcomed her with understated luxury, soft lighting, sleek architecture, and a hush that suggested both elegance and solitude. It felt like a sanctuary cloaked in sadness. Her eyes drifted toward the reception desk, where a young attendant offered a courteous smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. As she approached, a surge of thoughts clamored in her mind, memories she wished she could silence. She thought of Cameron, her husband, and the last call they'd shared, tense, furious, echoing with betrayal. She'd been with Derek then. A mistake, a moment, a memory that refused to fade. Guilt twisted with longing in her chest. Was Cameron here now, somewhere in the folds of this grand hotel? Or was something else waiting, something unknown? A doorman caught her eye, his silhouette poised under the shimmer of chandelier light. He bowed slightly, silver hat in hand, and opened the glass door with grace, ushering her deeper into a world of curated charm and veiled secrets. Behind her, a bellhop trailed with a luggage cart, his steps methodical, unaware that each stride Lyanna took unraveled a story stitched with temptation and regret. She passed rows of rich leather chairs and tastefully arranged furniture, her gaze scanning for a familiar face. Cameron was nowhere to be seen. The air felt heavier with each second, as if time itself was conspiring to test her patience, her choices. Her eyes lingered on the hotel doors, hoping for a sign, a glimpse, anything, but instead, a flicker of memory. Derek's face, that forbidden night in Chicago, his hands, his stare, cold, magnetic, intoxicating. It had all blurred into a fever dream laced with sorrow. Tonight had to be different, she told herself. Redemption, if it existed, had to begin now. A sign, just a small one, would be enough to shift the path. If Cameron appeared, maybe they could begin again, maybe. Then, from across the room, she noticed a stranger watching her. His gaze was sharp, unreadable, like he saw straight through her polished exterior. The look wasn't malicious, just observant, but it unnerved her, as if he knew a version of her she hadn't yet become. Lyanna's heart pounded louder beneath her composure. Something was shifting, quietly, irrevocably. She sank into a nearby armchair, finally allowing her legs to rest, and with the stillness came the flood, the memory of that phone call, Cameron's voice, furious, trembling. Lyanna, why did you do this? She'd tried to speak, to explain. Cameron, it wasn't supposed to. But he cut her off. Don't lie, I know everything. This wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. Each word had shattered something delicate inside her. That night with Derek surfaced again, his steel blue eyes, his lips full of promises he would never keep. She had fallen, not out of love, but out of a need to feel something different, something real, and now, it haunted her. A quiet conversation near her snapped her out of the spiral. Can you see? Maribel always makes people forget their problems, a woman whispered. Maybe, a man replied, or maybe she's just a beautiful illusion. Maribel. The name struck like a spark, the neighbor, the enigma, always dressed in perfection, always smiling like she knew things others didn't. Cameron had never looked at Lyanna the way he looked at Maribel, or maybe he had, once, before everything crumbled. Had Maribel been part of the problem, or was Lyanna simply running from the mirror of her own decisions? She closed her eyes, silence wrapped around her like a shawl, but the past still whispered in her ear. And when she opened them again, she asked herself the question that truly mattered: why did I let it all slip away? Lyanna Monroe's mind lingered on the moments she had shared with Derek, the whispered words, the fleeting warmth that now felt like nothing more than painful echoes. Each memory gnawed at her, leaving behind only regret. I never wanted to hurt you, Cameron, Lyanna murmured softly to herself, her voice trembling, fragile as glass. She tried to grasp the remnants of a past that could never be reclaimed. Her thoughts spiraled, torn between the ghosts of past loves and the looming uncertainty of her present. But just as she drowned in that emotional whirlpool, a soft voice interrupted her reverie. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I assist you with anything? It was the voice of a passing hotel employee, a subtle reminder that life, relentless and uncaring, moved forward, even when the past lay in jagged pieces. Lyanna managed a thin smile, her lips trembling as she replied, Thank you, dear. I just need a moment to think. Her words echoed in the cavernous lobby, amplifying the sense of isolation that gnawed at her. Amid the polite murmurs of strangers, her heart felt heavier, each beat laden with the weight of unspoken truths. As the footsteps around her faded into the distance, Lyanna couldn't shake the feeling that no matter how hard she tried to escape the past, it clung to her like a shadow. Beneath every smile, every courteous word, lay a tapestry of secrets, unhealed wounds, and unresolved pain. Inside, a small flame of conflict flickered, caught between the love she once had and the disappointment that now defined her existence. That flame threatened to burn out of control, promising that tonight, nothing would stay hidden forever. When Lyanna reached the reception desk, the sleek, modern design of the lobby should have brought her comfort. The dazzling lights, the refined elegance, yet her hope for a reunion with Cameron faltered as the night's complications unfolded. "Good evening, ma'am," the receptionist greeted her, his voice polite but edged with curiosity. "May I have your reservation name?" "Lyanna Monroe," she said, her voice barely steady. "I have a reservation for one night." The receptionist, Donovan, typed quickly on his keyboard, his fingers pausing before he met her gaze. "I'm afraid we're experiencing an issue with your payment method. Your Visa card has been declined." Lyanna's heart skipped a beat. "Is there a way I can use my MasterCard?" she asked, her voice betraying her anxiety. Donovan typed a few more commands, then frowned. "Sorry, ma'am, but your MasterCard has also been declined. Do you have another form of payment?" At that moment, a young couple, Simone Carlyle and her partner, stood behind her, their quiet conversation laced with tension. Simone's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she glanced down at a stack of divorce papers in her hands. Lyanna lowered her gaze, embarrassed by the familiar ache of rejection, trying to hold herself together. "Perhaps I'll call Cameron to sort this out," Lyanna muttered, her fingers trembling as she pulled her phone from her pocket. The seconds dragged by, each one thick with the weight of uncertainty. When Lyanna's phone came to life, her screen flashed an unexpected message: "Cameron's number is no longer in service." A chill washed over her. Her fingers went cold, and she stared at the screen, feeling like the floor was dropping out beneath her. Something was wrong, something she couldn't yet understand. Donovan's voice broke through her growing panic. "Please, ma'am, hold on a moment. I'll contact the payment department to resolve this." His words were meant to reassure, but they only deepened the sinking feeling in her chest. She wasn't sure if the world around her was spinning or if she had simply lost control. Before she could process further, a distinguished man in a sharp black suit stepped toward the desk. His presence was commanding, as if he carried secrets in every line of his face. He met Lyanna's eyes briefly, then, with quiet authority, handed her a large envelope. Lyanna's hand shook as she accepted it, unsure if the gesture was an offering or a warning. The man didn't speak, he simply turned and walked away, leaving her standing in the midst of the hotel's bright lights and heavy shadows. She stared down at the envelope in her hands. Confusion and fear stirred inside her. Was this the beginning of something she couldn't control? Or just another signal that everything was unraveling? Donovan's polite voice pulled her back to the moment. "Please wait here, ma'am. We'll resolve the issue shortly." Each word seemed to further anchor her in a world of unspoken threats and unhealed wounds. Standing there, among the crowd of strangers, Lyanna felt the weight of her solitude pressing down on her, as if the very air was thick with impending change. She retreated to a quiet corner of the lobby, where the dim lighting cast long shadows over the envelope. The paper inside seemed heavy with fate, and as Lyanna stared at it, she could almost feel the clock ticking down. No one could have predicted that, in the wake of her payment troubles, her world was about to be swept into a storm of betrayal and hidden truths. With trembling hands, Lyanna ripped open the envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper awaited, its printed words stark, as if etched into her soul. The soft rustle of the paper in the silence was deafening, as if it carried a whisper from the past that could never be erased. "Lyanna." Cameron's words burned into her mind. "I am not an easy man, but your truth has left me unable to remain silent. You have betrayed our trust, and I cannot accept that. I know everything. I know you went astray with Derek, letting fleeting temptations obscure the love we nurtured for so many years. But not only that, I must also admit there were times when I lost myself. I had a moment of weakness with Talia, a new colleague. It was a temporary mistake. Unlike your choices, you have brought this tragedy upon yourself." You've broken our sacred vows. You are no longer worthy of our fidelity. I have exercised the power of attorney you once signed, to free myself from the shackles of betrayal. I've sold our shared apartment, transferred ownership, and changed everything. These decisions were not easy, but they were necessary to protect my future. I have also shared your evidence with the HR department. You will face consequences, not only in matters of the heart, but in your career. I hope you come to recognize the value of honesty. Sometimes, pain is the only path to awakening. I do not expect reconciliation. Love cannot be rebuilt from the fragments of betrayal. Consider the $500 gift card as my final farewell, a symbol of what we once had, and what has now been lost. Cameron Hayes. The words echoed through Lyanna's mind, each line cutting deeper than the last, leaving an indelible mark. Her eyes filled with tears, but amid the ache, a sharp surge of anger rose within her, bitterness creeping through the sorrow. How had everything gone so terribly wrong? Cameron's voice returned in her thoughts, cold, distant. Lyanna, what have you done to lose my trust? The question circled in her mind like a relentless tide. She trembled, unable to answer. Derek's image clashed with Cameron's, her once safe haven now shattered. The contrast between her past decisions and the life she'd tried to build felt irreparable, like a broken painting, its pieces scattered and unrecognizable. The atmosphere around her shifted, the usual hum of the hotel lobby stilled, as if time itself had slowed, bearing witness to her heartache. She whispered, her voice barely audible, "Why must everything fall apart like this?" And then, amidst the pain, a quiet truth emerged. Though the truth was painful, it was also the first step toward freedom. Under the dim lights of the Regency Hotel, Lyanna understood she could not return to the past, to a life built on fragile choices and regret. As the letter's final words settled in her mind, she stood motionless, the cold envelope still trembling in her hands. The dimmed lights of the lobby cast shadows, framing a moment that felt like the end of everything she had once known. You did wrong, now you must pay. Cameron's words, like a final dagger, pierced her heart again, each syllable sinking deeper into her guilt. Lyanna bowed her head, tears streaming freely, not just from heartbreak, but from the weight of her own mistakes. She had betrayed herself, too. Will I ever go back, or are these just bitter memories now? Donovan, still standing nearby, his gaze sympathetic, approached her gently. Would you like me to call someone for you? We can contact the support department, if needed. Lyanna shook her head slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. No. I just need a moment to think. She took the gift card from the envelope, the cold plastic a stark reminder of what had been lost, love, trust, the shared future they had once dreamed of. Perhaps this is the time to start over. Her voice, though shaky, held a trace of resolve. Outside, the New York night wind whipped through the city streets, cold and relentless. Neon lights flickered, casting fleeting shadows like fractured dreams. Lyanna stepped through the hotel doors, leaving behind the life she had known. As she passed a reflective glass wall, she caught sight of her own weary eyes. Do I have the strength to weather this storm? Before she could ponder further, her phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. She hesitated, then answered. Lyanna, this is Quentin, Cameron's old friend, came the voice, calm yet serious. I know this is hard to hear, but there's something you need to know. Her heart skipped, the past stirred again. Cameron's decided to go far away, to start a new journey, a life he's longed for. He won't be coming back, but he hopes you find your path too. Lyanna closed her eyes, tears spilled, but beneath them, something warm stirred, perhaps forgiveness, or at least understanding. His words held no blame, only a strange kindness. Before hanging up, Quentin added, take care of yourself, Lyanna. Sometimes, loss is how life teaches us what truly matters. She nodded, even though he couldn't see. His words felt like a salve on her wounds. Inhaling deeply, she let the crisp night air fill her lungs, grounding her in the moment. She folded the envelope, slipped the card into her jacket pocket, and walked away. Each step was heavy with sorrow, but with it came a fragile hope for the future. As she reached the end of the block, she paused, turning back toward the glittering hotel. She whispered, beneath the city's roar, enjoy your weekend in New York, where beauty awaits you, day and night. And with that, Lyanna stepped forward into the unknown, her journey far from over.